So we're starting our collage unit today, and I just wanted to show you a couple of ways to make your collage in thoughtful and responsible ways. So first, let's take a collage that I started. It's not finished yet, but it's supposed to be a boat on water. It's not bad, but there's a couple of ways that I think I could make it better. I've been running into some problems with where I put the water pieces in the boat. As you can see, I glued on my boat first. You can tell because it's behind all these other pieces. And so when I tried to add in my water, I kind of had to rip it up and place it around the boat because I can't put anything behind what's already been glued on. But when I went to go add my blue piece of paper, I already cut it out, for the sky, it covers everything up. So I've been running into a lot of problems, and I thought that maybe we could start a new one together and go over some ways to avoid these problems and learn from it. So let's get a new piece of paper. And let's start with getting our materials ready. So let's start with our boat, actually. I just want to show you how I cut out my boat the first time, and then maybe a way we could do it better. So here's our first technique that we're learning today, paper cutting. So this is how I cut out my boat the first time. As you can see, I kind of just cut it right out of the middle. And that's fine, it worked. But let's count and see how many more boats I could cut out from this scrap of paper. If I wanted to make a few more, maybe my classmates would too. Maybe one, oh yeah, maybe not, because see, this is too big. So one, two maybe three if you're really good at positioning and planning, but that's hard. So for this new boat, I decided to cut near the edge. And this is what we're gonna call efficient paper cutting. Efficient means that it's the best technique to use that doesn't waste our time or materials. So the reason this is efficient is because it saves all of this paper room for new cutting. Let's count how many boats we could fit on this piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 probably. You could maybe even fit 6 if you were really good at positioning. That's a lot more than this. So when we're cutting out our paper shapes, let's try and avoid this and do this a little bit more. So cut near the edge. I already did it here, as you can see it slides right in. So that's how we want to sort of go about cutting out our shapes. While we're getting our materials, let's get a new water piece out. So while using scissors to cut out our shapes works just fine, there is another way I just want to make sure you know of, and that's just ripping the paper. It can make some really cool textures. You can kind of see it here too. You can just, if you hold down, that kind of helps with a sort of straight line, but I don't really want mine too straight. Got a little bit of tape. As you can see, I got some two cool pieces I could use for water. I think I like the big one. So yeah, we have boat, we have water, and then I'll just use the sky piece I wasn't able to use on my first one. So now that we have these three things, we have enough to get started. It might not be everything I want to add, but it's enough to get started. So let's get our paper. And now that we have some materials to start, let's think. To avoid what happened here, where I was having some hard times figuring out where to position things, where, you know, the sky's covering everything when I tried to place it, the water's covering the boat, everything's kind of hiding around itself. Let's try this technique called back to front. That's our next technique that we're learning. Back to front means to try and add the details of the background, or what's farthest away from the viewer or you, first. And then you add whatever's closest or closer on top. So planning where you're going to add things before attaching them is a great way to go back to front. So I don't have any glue yet, but I just know that the sky, that would be the furthest away. And the water would be a little bit closer than that. I can touch it. And what would be even closer than the water would be this boat. So I think that's a pretty good setup. I could even maybe I'll do that. So that's a good setup, and once you have an idea of where you want things to be, we can go on to our next skill, which would be gluing. I'm going to show you how we use our specific glue setup. So you're gonna have, they should be on the table, and yours is probably gonna have a little bit more glue than mine. But it's just me today, so I have a little bit of glue. But you have a tub with glue in it, and this homemade brush which has a sponge and either a clothespin or a chip clip. This is your glue brush, it's just for glue. So there's a few rules of thumb. So if we want to do back to front, we'll do sky, water, boat. So what you're going to do is quickly and lightly just touch the top of your glue. You don't want to wait too long because then it'll absorb a lot, and you don't want to press too hard because the same thing will happen. And that could result in too much glue. Too much glue becomes wet and slippery, and that prevents it drying. So I think this is good to start. I think this is just enough. The rule now, and it's good, easy way to remember, is to dab and smear until it's clear. So it might be kind of hard to tell in video, so I'm dabbing and then I smear. And you see how the white parts get harder to see. It's a good idea to remember that if while you're applying glue, there's a big white puddle or glob, that's a good way to know that you probably used too much glue. And you see how I'm going back in? Dab, dab and smear. That's okay. It's way easier to add in more glue than it is to take away too much. So I think that's good for now. Then what you're gonna do is put it on, and you're gonna press and hold, maybe just a couple seconds. And look, that was just enough, it wasn't too much. Dab and smear until it's clear. And then our last skill, I'm not gonna glue everything on for the tutorial just for time, but you just do the same thing. The last skill I wanna show you is bubble cutting. So let's say, see I have my sky. I want a butterfly. Let's do a butterfly in my sky. I found a picture of this butterfly in a magazine. And you see, I'm gonna try and cut it out. So what a lot of us do, me too, is you try to cut around right on the edge of the butterfly. But that's really hard because look at all these little lines. Like, do you see around the feet? And then I try to go around, but you see, I cut off this butterfly's foot and leg, and it'd be really hard not to. I mean, see that little blue piece in between? That would be really hard to cut off. So what we're going to do is pretend, and you can do this in your mind, or I'll show you a different way, that there's a bubble around what you want to cut out, and then you cut along the line of the bubble instead of the thing inside the bubble. So for this example, I'm just gonna draw it, but you can also do this step in your mind if you think you can, or if you get really good at it. So kind of like if you've ever seen a sticker, they have an edge around them. You can just draw the edge right around like it's a border. And now you have new lines to cut on, but are way easier. And you get this nice clean edge, kind of like a sticker too, that will look really cool in a collage. So you just going around. You see I forgot my mark at the top there, but now that I've been practicing, I can kind of just imagine it's there. You guys will get there too. And you can also use a pencil for this. It doesn't have to be a Sharpie. Whatever writing tool you want. See? No butterfly legs or antenna missing today. And then you just apply it with the gluing techniques that we showed earlier. All right, those are all the skills I wanted to show you for the collage unit today. Thank you.